Good morning, my darlings. Welcome to Conversation 22 of 100. Now, if you are new to this channel, today's video is going to get a little weird. And if it's not your thing, totally cool. I'll see you tomorrow, though, because it'll be something different. That's the point to these conversations. I'm having 100 conversations from January 1st to April 11th. And every day is just a little bit different. It's just sort of random. It's just sort of, I'm here. I'm here to connect. If you need a face or a voice to connect with, I'm here. And we're just going to ramble and chat about whatever. But today, I actually want to talk to you about some spiritual and astrological stuff. And if you stay towards the end of the video, I'm going to, as always, get a little deeper towards the end and share with you something that I'm about to shift in my personal manifestations and possible beliefs. And it's really scary. But I'm going to do it. And I feel like I just need to say it out loud. I need to speak it. So that'll come towards the end of the video. Anyway, normal conversations on this channel, in case you are new, are carnivore, Disney, spiritual, life, astrology, and randomness. Pretty much anything but politics. Won't do politics. So yeah, pretty much anything else is fair game. And sometimes it's just nothing. It's just, I don't know, just chatting about the birds and the trees and anything, right? Before we get started on today's conversation, I want to say to you all that wherever you are in the world today, may you be blessed and loved and seen and safe. I know that there's a lot going on out there, and I pray for you all's safety. Also, with this ice storm coming up, be careful. You guys, be really careful. The astrology does not bode well for this ice storm. So please, 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 please be safe. All right? Okay. All of that being said, I want to talk to you first off about this thing that I keep calling the shift, right? This thing, my guides called the shift. If you're new to the channel, I'm clairaudient. I have a conversational experience with my guides, right? It's been all my life, but when I moved here in 2012, it took a real uptick because most of my life, I just thought I was making up stuff in my head. I always knew stuff, and I always knew that if I listened to these imaginary friends that I had in my head, a lot of the times I thought they were Jesus or the Holy Spirit. But if I listened to that, life went better. And then when I got here in 2012, my experiences started to expand, and my understanding of spirituality and Christianity and religion in general all started to expand. And in about 2016, I think it might have been 2015, but somewhere in there, the guide started bringing to me this idea of this shift that was coming, this cement track that was coming by 2018, and then I needed to have my life together by then, or else I wouldn't make it through the shift. No pressure. And then they as the years went on, and I mean, we taught every time I went into meditation, which I do multiple times a day. So, and every time it was conversations about preparing and being ready, and not physically, not like go dig a hole in the ground and put a bunch of food in it, but like emotionally and spiritually preparing, being strong, knowing my path, that kind of stuff. And, I think it was around 2018 they started mentioning the word plague to me, which, makes sense because filtering is a bitch. Okay, that's the biggest thing to know about being clairaudient. You can only filter within the realm of things that you know, right? Like this one time, my friend messaged me, and she was kind of upset. I want to say panicky, but that's probably harsh. Anyway, she messaged me, and her brother-in-law had been taken to the ER, and nobody knew what was going on, and she couldn't get any information, and she wanted me to check in with my guides, and I did. And all I kept getting was this image in my head of rock candy, and that made no sense to me. And I told her, I said, I'm really sorry. I said, I'm getting nothing but rock candy, and that makes no sense. Well, I'm an extreme good girl. I've never done drugs. I've never been around drugs. As it came to find out, apparently he had overdosed on crystal meth, I think it was, which I guess looks like rock candy. But I couldn't filter that. So my point is, filtering is a bitch. And I've learned that. And I've learned that more and more and more over the last few years. And I've just come to accept it. And I work within the limitations that I have, the limitations of being human, right? So when it came to, there's a plague coming, Amy and I both, because Amy is my closest friend and I shared everything with her, everything. No matter how crazy it was, she really helped keep me sane during those years because I trusted her. And if she thought I was losing it, she was authorized to tell me so. And so as we were getting closer and closer to that, Amy and I just kept praying that the plague was some kind of metaphorical term for something that was going to go on in the psyches of people. Sometimes we thought, well, maybe it's like a computer virus. It'll be a plague on the internet. Anything but actual literal plague, right? Obviously. As 2019 progressed, we went through the fire, like big time. They told us it was coming. They told us we were going to be tested to our souls. And we were. It was huge financial tests that almost caused us to lose our home. And we had nowhere to go if we had lost our home. And it was really, it would have been terrifying if not that every single day the guys were walking us through it. And they kept saying to us, you're being vaccinated. They're like, oh, you're that and you're being cured, like pottery in the fire. They're like, just stay in it, stay with it. You are being protected. This is protections for the years to come. This is, things like that made absolutely no sense to me. And they told us every day. They were there with us. And the people around us, thought we were nuts. And we lost a lot of friends during that season. But I think that was also them clearing house. And that's okay. Sometimes that's the season that you're in, and that's okay. I'm trying not to make this a very, very long story. But anyway, then I remember very clearly, I heard in my head, it was like out of the blue one night. They're like, this is over by Friday. Hold it together. It was like 4 more days. They're like, hold it together. Friday, it's done. Friday, it was done. It dissipated as fast as it came. And it was gone. The tests were all gone. Everything was secure. Our feet were back on solid ground. We did not lose our home. And everything was fine. And we were very different people. We were very different people. So going into the fall of 2019, knowing that January, I think it was January 11th, this shift kicked off big and hard. I was still hoping that, we were talking metaphorical plague. They had told me the 4 things were plague, ugly politics. And when I would be like, politics are always ugly, they said, no, this is unlike anything you've ever seen before. And it's going to test people to their core. And it's going to be almost like a disease unto itself. And that's when they told me, do not pick a side. Do not get involved. It's not what it appears. So I've stayed out of it. I've really stayed out of it. And then they said financial resetting, financial collapse. Sometimes I would hear like a financial reset. I don't know that we've seen that yet. I think we're near to it now. And then the final thing is war. And what they told me about that, clarifying over the years, was that war would kind of be here through the whole thing, but the war will end at the end of the shift. The wars will end at the end of the shift. And the end of the shift is supposed to be coming next month. I don't know how everything clears up by the end of next month, but we'll see. Filtering is a bitch, right? But let me go back to 2019 for just another minute or two. So as we got into like November and December, they were starting to give me more and more. They had us buy masks, y'all. In November, they had us buy masks. Terrifying. I was like having no understanding of what really was coming, just that it was going to be bad, right? And then they started telling me, like giving me safety precautions for like my oldest kid who used to go to 7-Eleven every day. They're like, he's not going to be able to go to 7-Eleven every day. They're like, there's going to come a few months span of time where you're not going to leave the house. That's when they did have us stock up on groceries and things. They said there's going to be shortages. It's going to be a chaotic time. And then late in December, they showed me the virus over in China. And I knew then without a shadow of a doubt. I was like, holy, this thing is coming here. And even though, I had my guide's reassurance, and they told me it was a 4-year span, 4 to 6 year span. The bulk of it happened in the first 4 years, and then these last couple of years have been more of a clearing than a bringing everything up to the surface, or clearing and resetting. And then I guess at the end of February, we get to start cleaning up and deciding what kind of world we want to live in. Well, we don't really get to decide. It's kind of already written. It's going to be a world of light, which is beautiful. But, and I've told this story before, and I know that I have, but that night, I will never forget it. That night at Disney Springs, Christmas time. It might have been Christmas Day, actually. We were at Disney Springs watching music, and we were over at Don Black. He's a saxophone player, and he was playing at the Lime Node, which nobody plays there anymore. It was right by the Lime Garage. And I was just all of a sudden hit with the heaviness of everything that was in my head. Everything that I thought that I knew was coming, and the reality that I had no idea what was coming. And that neither did any of these people, but at least I had a heads up. I'd been preparing for something. And everybody was just happy. A little numb too, though. I mean, I'd been watching people a lot in November and December, and my guides kept pointing out, he's like, people aren't connected to themselves anymore. People aren't connected to this life anymore. And it's a lot the phones, I'll be honest with you. It's a lot the phones. Because when you see it at Disney especially, people on their phones, you're at Disney World, you guys. You're at Disney World. And part of that's Disney's fault, but not as much in 2019. But part of that's Disney's fault because everything is on the app. But we had become very disconnected from ourselves, from people, from humanity, the people in our close circles. I mean, we were very disconnected at that point. And so, I mean, but it's still, I get it. We needed a reset, but still. And I started to cry. I was standing there next to Amy, and I just started to cry because my heart broke in that moment because nobody had any idea what was about to happen. As far as I knew, I was the only person on the planet that knew, although there was this one other friend of mine that knew. He was an astrologer, and he saw it in the astrology. He did have guides, but he saw it coming in the astrology. But it was a terrifying moment. It was a heartbreaking moment. It was one I never want to live through again. And will always stay with me. The compassion that I felt in that moment. Heartbreak. I just keep coming. My heart was broken for every single person on the planet in that moment. Because I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it wasn't going to be good. And then, January 11th. And on that very day, and if it's not January 11th, then I'm sorry. It was like the 11th, the 13th, it was somewhere in there. But it was whichever day, because it was that very day that I was looking for. Amy and I were both on guard for this particular day. We knew that this was the day the shift really kicked off, and that was the first confirmed case here in the United States. And for some reason, the United States is the center of this shift. I think, I'm not going to go into that today. I have reasons for saying that. I've been shown things. It goes all the way back to Atlantis. I'm not going to get that weird today. Just telling you all of this is weird enough. Anyway, So on that very day, it was off. It was off and running. And you all know, you lived it, right? Imagine living it, having known it, and yet still watching it unfold. And it changed me. I mean, I think it changed all of us, but it changed me in that I don't take my guides for granted anymore. And I don't take them lightly anymore. They were with us every step of the day, step of the way. There's only one thing that shocked me the whole time, and that's music came back to Disney Springs 2 weeks before they said it was going to come back to Disney Springs. And I was shocked by that. Of all the things, right? It's the only thing through the entire, now 5 years, that shocked me. And we've all lived all of that. You know, we've lived that collectively and individually, and it has broken us and changed us. And I think going into the light, we are all going to have to take a really huge step back and look at ourselves, figure out who we are now, because we are different. We are not the same as we were in 2019. And I think a lot of people have just been, you know, like running on autopilot, running on just keep going, get to the end of this. And yet there is never an end of this. And there won't be until you stop and you look inside and you figure out, okay, who are you in this new era, in this new age? And if you go back to the astrology, we are entering the age of Aquarius. We're out of the age of Pisces. The ages go backwards. Everything else goes Aries to Pisces, but the ages go Pisces to Aries. So we've been in the age of Pisces, I mean, forever. And now we're in the age of Aquarius. The problem here is that I think along the way the spiritual community has really lost the plot. Really, really, I'll be honest with you. I don't mean to be harsh or ugly, but the astrology community too. If you're going to get into astrology, make sure that you find somebody who knows what they're talking about. In the age of Aquarius, Aquarius represents the collective. People have this idea, and they have had since like the 60s. Remember the dawning of the age of Aquarius? That it was going to be like the 60s, all like love-ins and sitting around kumbaya, all wearing our little, you know, I don't know, white robes or something. And that is the strangest interpretation of Aquarius that I've ever heard. It makes absolutely no sense. When you start to study, each sign in the zodiac is represented by a planet. By a planet. Uranus rules Aquarius at this stage of the game. In old astrology and probably in Vedic astrology, Saturn rules Aquarius. But for the sake of this conversation, for where I sit, I do Western astrology, so Uranus rules Aquarius. Okay, you have to look at the ruler of the planet to know what the sign, or the planet that rules the sign, to understand what that sign is bringing to humanity. Uranus is the planet of shock and awe. Uranus is the planet of extreme uniqueness, individuality, like being who you are. What Uranus wants, what the Age of Aquarius is calling for, in my opinion, is for you to become the most unique, true version of yourself that you can be, and then step into the party with that and bring that to the world. Not your mental illness, because that's Pisces. And I think that we will be seeing a lot of focus on mental health in a different way than we have in the past, because what we've been doing is not working. And we've been clearing a lot of that, and at the same time it's been coming to the absolute peak, the insanity and the mental health, the mental health crisis. All of that has been coming to its peak because Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, has been going through Pisces for the last decade, a little more than that, and Pisces rules mental health. And anytime the ruler of a sign is in that sign, it takes all of its qualities and just magnifies them and brings them to a complete peak so they can be reset. So we will be seeing a lot of changes in everything that Pisces rules, which is prisons, mental health, church. Church is a little Capricorny too, but, well, religion. It's complicated. Every sign rules something different, and I don't want to get too deep here. I just want to say we are going into the age of Aquarius, and to understand what that's going to look like, you have to understand Uranus, and you have to understand what Aquarius actually rules, and not just decide for yourself that because Aquarius rules the collective, we're all going to become this kumbaya, a collective, because that's never been, in my understanding, that's never been the goal. The goal is to be ourselves, to be beautiful and individual, and know our gifts and our talents, and how to bring love and beauty and uniqueness to the world. That's the age we're going into. And obviously it lasts for thousands of years, so it's going to be an ongoing process. The other aspect of this shift is that the sun spends 6,000 years above the ecliptic and 6,000 years below the ecliptic. On whatever day that was in 2012, where the Mayan calendar ended, and everybody was like, oh, the world's going to end. The world did end. The dark world ended, because that is the moment the sun came over the ecliptic, was reborn into the light. We were all reborn into the light in 2012. It's already written. It's already done. But, you know, it's messy getting there. And it's a 6,000 year transit. So, you know, it's not going to peak out for 3,000 years. But I believe that those of us that are here right now, we came here to help this shift, to help move into the light. Not in the dead sort of way either. We're not going into the light, but we are, as a planet, we're rebirthing the light. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I know that I sound like a crazy person, and yet I have these experiences that will tell you that I'm right, that what I say is true, to the best of my ability to filter. So, there you have it. I have not bared that much of my soul to the public before, so there you go. Anyway, I'm about to bear more though, because here's the thing. Okay, so here's where we are now. Shift aside, except for that, I know that we're going into this light, you know, into this light, and I want to experience that. That's the timeline that I want to be on. Now, timelines are super trippy, and I don't even know what I believe as far as timelines go, but there are a lot of people that believe that Earth is splitting into at least 2 timelines right now, and I know that there's one that I would prefer to be on and be aligned with, so I try to focus on that. If you want to know more about that, let me know in the comments, and I will make a video on the timelines. But for right now, you all know that I've been really struggling with money. I've struggled with money my whole life. That's been my biggest, that and romantic relationships, I would say, have been the 2 biggest sources of angst and chaos and crisis in my life. I currently am not in a romantic relationship, so I don't have to worry about that one. But money, you know, I just, again, got wiped out by that car. Just as I was getting ahead again. Now, granted, I elevate, you know, so when I get wiped out, I only get wiped out to here and not down to here again. Well, you can't see that, but down to here. But still, it's aggravating. It's really aggravating. And so I was really aggravated meditating the other day, and my guides brought something to me, not for the first time. You know, even though I know all this stuff from my guides, and even though I have all this, what my youngest kid calls the library of evidence, all the times, we've been keeping track for years, like way before the shift stuff even started coming in, of all the times my guides said something and my guides were right. So even despite all of that, I still struggle. I know that looking from the outside looking in, particularly if you're close enough to see my guides be right over and over and over again, you know, you would wonder why I struggle with it as much as I do. I don't even have an answer for that, except for that my mind wants to cling to the logic. You know, I'm a Libra, which is an air sign, which means we are thinkers. We like logic. We like, you know, strategy. We like to be in our heads, and I am in my head a lot, which is probably good, because my guess is that that's been my anchor to sanity. Because somebody with these gifts that has seen what I've seen and knows what I know, it would be really easy to go off the deep end. And that's why, you know, Amy's been my tether for years, and the best tether, the best friend, the best everything I've ever had. And I trust her to tell me if I'm ever going off the deep end. But I also, you know, I'm in my head all the time. I'm always bringing in logic. I'm always bringing in science. I'm always bringing in, well, okay, but this is how the psychology would work. So which path do I follow? You know, I go over everything to the nth degree, right? So with money, I like to strategize, and I like to have my plans, and I like to work. I have been a workaholic most of my adult life. Well, not true. Not since I've been on my own. Because what are you going to do? Go under? You know? So I have definitely been a workaholic. I work all the time. Since the shift though, they've really been working on breaking that, because I haven't had as much work to do. Things have just been so different. And so I can say to you that I am no longer a workaholic. However, I do still work all the time. It kind of goes in phases, and then I'll take a little bit of time off. But I still work all the time. Trust me, I'm getting somewhere. I know I've gotten rambly. So, it's scary for me. It's scary for me, because what my guides have brought to me is to stop chasing and to start allowing. I don't allow. I'm like, no, I got it. I'm going to go out and get it. It's fine. I'm going to work my butt off and I'll get it. I know how to do this. I know how to strategize it. I know how to make it work. And I do. All those things are true. And yet it only works so far. And then I keep getting hit with these resets. I'm being called to something greater. Not to sound arrogant, I just mean something greater in my own life. The guides are saying to me, if I truly want to see ease with money, if I want to see wealth build up in my life, if I want to see a real actual shift in my day-to-day where money is concerned, where it isn't something I'm constantly budgeting and strategizing, then I have to shift into this place of I allow instead of I create. I love I create. I understand I create. I can handle I create. I can manage I create. I can create. It's a very control freaky situation going on with me right now in that. And so they said, well, can you step away from it for the 30 days that you're planning to make this shift? We're putting together the actual 30 days from January 30th to, through February. Exactly what things I'm going to be tackling and handling and shifting during that time. And they're like, can you put this in there? Can you, for 30 days, can you allow? Can you listen intuitively to how much you should work? What you should work on? If you should work. Can you, every day, wake up with a grateful heart and allow money to find its way to you? My first answer to that was no, I cannot, because that's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I have to go out and get money. I have to make money. It's been a long couple of days. The meditations have been really in depth and really, really calling me on my crap. I have agreed. I don't know exactly what it looks like. And I'm sure I'm going to screw it up. Same way I've, screwed up carnivore for these 30 days. So the next 30 days, I'm going to try to do a little bit better. And so I'm sure all we're doing is setting a benchmark in these first 30 days. But I am agreeing to allow. Terrifying, because what this actually means to me is get up each day, be more intuitive in my day, focus on these videos because I love these things. Anything that I love, do that. I love these conversations. I love these moments with you guys. I love Disney, so I'm going back to Disney. I am loving what carnivores do in my body, so I'm sticking with that. Do I love staying up till 3 in the morning writing articles so that I have enough money to whatever? Oh, church bells. It's 30 days following what I love, what makes my heart at peace. Oh my God, even saying this, I'm like, this is crazy advice. Do not follow me on this. Really don't. Like, let me test it out. If it works, I'll bring it back around. But I wouldn't advise this to anybody. And I'll be entirely honest with you. I have a really good, I've got Amy and Ari that are going to have my back in this. And, my sister, bless her soul. Well, we help each other. But, I mean, she's like, do it and see what happens. And she's like, if you run short, I've got your back. God, I love her. I love them both so much. Sorry. Because of those two women, I get to be my best self. I get to try things. I get to fly. I get to fly. I get to at least try to fly. Maybe I fall, but maybe I fly. And if not for Amy and Ari, I don't know how that would be possible. Because I know me. And this is a terrible thing, but I trust them more than I trust God sometimes, And that's human. It's not intentional. It's just how we are. We're going to trust the tangible that we can see, or at least I do. I trust the tangible that I can see far more than I trust the intangible, even though I see the intangible work out over and over and over and over again. I mean, maybe that is my insanity, maybe that is my crazy. Anyway, this has gone on for a really long time today, so I am going to wish you well. May you be blessed and may you be well, as always. And I am sending you my love, my gratitude. If you stuck through this video to the end, you are my people, and I love you. And I thank you so much for being here. You also are a strength. You are what? Oh my goodness. You also are a source of strength for me. You that stayed to the end of this video. I'm doing this in part for you too, because God knows what kind of information and wealth I bring back from going into this rabbit hole, taking this leap off this cliff. This is a leap of faith for sure. I happen to be pretty good at leaps of faith, and again, that's in my astrology, and I feel like it's right for me to do them because I learn a lot and I can bring a lot back. I can teach from it. I can share and maybe help other people that aren't able to take the leaps of faith, Anyway, I allow. The season of I allow is coming. And we will be talking about this more over the next week as I define it more and get clearer on it. But I just felt the need to speak it today. All right. I am going to go. There is a trailer coming out today for the next expansion pack for The Sims. It's a royalty expansion pack. Isn't that crazy? So we are going to go and what look, I'm already in sync with it. The royal we. We are going to go and watch the Sim trailer on the royalty pack. And I'm in a cleaning mood today, so I've been cleaning things. I've had the toothbrush out and scrubbing nooks and crannies of things. And since I don't always feel like doing that, when I do feel like it, I tend to go with it, because that way I don't have to force myself to do it later. Oh gosh, I got all teary again. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow, where the conversation will be much lighter than today. I'm sending you love. Thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm in the door after having that conversation and feeling a little raw. The theme song from Soarin' was playing on the speaker. I think it's going to be all right. I think it's going to be okay. We're going to go soaring.